The world is a big, mysterious place where sometimes facts defy logic. Here are some mind-bending, useless, and weird geography facts that you should know. Let's begin, shall we? Number 1. Monoi, Nebraska. Monoi, Nebraska is the smallest incorporated town in the U.S., and it has just one resident. Located near the border of South Dakota, this small town in Nebraska has just one resident, Elsie Eiler. When her husband died in 2004, Eiler became the town of Monowi's sole resident. According to the BBC, she's the town's mayor, clerk, treasurer, librarian, and bartender. She said she pays taxes to herself so the town can keep its lights on and its water running. She takes care of business in other ways, too. When I apply to the state for my liquor and tobacco licenses each year, they send them to the secretary of the village, which is me. So I get them as the secretary, sign them as the clerk, and give them to myself as the bar owner, Eiler told the BBC in 2018. Number 2. There's a point in the U.S. that is just 2.5 miles away from Russia. The Diami Islands, known in Russia as Ostrova Gvozdova, are 2 islands in the Bering Strait. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the islands are separated by both the U.S.-Russian boundary and the international dateline. Although Big Diomede and Little Diomede are located about 2.5 miles apart from one another, they are in entirely different time zones. Number 3. Along the Oregon coast in the town of Yachats is a naturally formed hole that appears to be draining the sea. Thors Well, as the site is called, is located near Cape Perpetua. Though it's unclear how this hole formed, some researchers suspect it began as a sea cave that was dug out by waves but later collapsed. It's certainly impressive to look at. According to Atlas Obscura, it is not actually bottomless. It is, however, very dangerous. Researchers estimate the hole to only be around 20 feet deep, but the optical illusion of endlessness is truly astounding. Number 4. The USA's largest underground lake can be found in Sweetwater, Tennessee. Designated as a national natural landmark in 1974, the visible portion of the Lost Sea is about 800 feet long by 220 feet wide. The full extent of the lake is still unknown. According to the U.S. National Park Service, the Lost Sea is part of Craighead Caverns, and this area once yielded the bones and footprints of a giant Pleistocene jaguar, a subspecies of jaguar that is now extinct. Number 5. On a hill near Prosser, Washington, shifting your car into neutral will make it seem as though it's rolling uphill. People will continue to speculate about whether the road is haunted or not, but in any case, watching your car seemingly roll uphill is nothing short of weird, according to Only in Your State. The reason you feel like you're moving uphill as you move downhill is due to optical illusions. The horizon line and other landscape features cause your mind to feel as though you're moving up, even as you're going down a hill. Number 6. Beneath the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, underground mine fires have been burning since 1962. National Geographic called the Centralia mine fire the worst mine fire in U.S. history. The fire began in May of 1962, and 2012 marked the 50th anniversary of the fire that still rages beneath the ghost town of Centralia. By 1982, many of the town's 1,500 residents had relocated voluntarily. But as of 2017, 5 homes, 3 families, and a single municipal building along with 1 business remain in the area. According to documentarian Joe Sapienza II, who released the film Centralia, Pennsylvania's Lost Town. As of 2018, the fire was still burning. Number 7. Wyoming might be completely landlocked, but it has over 30 named islands anyway. When you think of Wyoming, you probably don't think about bodies of water. It's not near an ocean, and it isn't near any of the Great Lakes either. But despite its inland location, Wyoming still has lakes, and some of those lakes have named islands within them. According to Only in Your State, the majority of Wyoming's named islands are located in Jackson Lake and Yellowstone Lake, though there are a few others located in additional rivers and Lee Lake. It's unclear how many named islands there are. Some publications report that Wyoming has 31, but others have reported 32 or 35. Some of these islands include Dot Island, Bush Island, Oxbow Bend, Boulder Island, and Elk Island. Number 8. Visit the Crystal Cave in Put-in-Bay, Ohio, to walk inside the world's largest known geode. First discovered in 1897 when Heinemann's winery was digging to put in a well, this celestite geode is massive and otherworldly as you walk inside it. According to the winery, Crystal Cave is the main reason it stayed afloat financially during the U.S.'s prohibition. which lasted throughout the 20s and early 30s and banned the sale and manufacturing of intoxicating liquors. When Heinemann couldn't sell wine, they sold cave tours and kept the business going until they could make wine again. Number 9. Located in Kentucky, Mammoth Cave is the world's longest known cave system. Mammoth Cave officially became a national park in 1946, but artifacts found within prove that Native Americans had been exploring this cave system at least 4,000 years before. According to Atlas Obscura, over 400 miles of these caves have already been mapped and surveyed, and it is open for tours year-round. Number 10. The largest living organism on Earth is an 80,000-year-old aspen grove called Pando, the Trembling Giant, and it lives in Utah. If you didn't know better, you might think that the 47,000 or so quivering aspen trees standing in a grove in Richfield, Utah, was just your average forest. It's actually Pando, a forest of one. As the New York Times described, Pando is a series of trees that are all connected via a single root system. They all share the same DNA and are genetically male. Pando's name comes from the Latin term for eye spread. Number 11. Alaska is simultaneously the northernmost, easternmost, and westernmost state in the U.S. Anyone who has ever looked at a map of the U.S. can tell you that Alaska is the northernmost state. But how can it be both easternmost and westernmost as well? When looking at a map with latitudes and longitudes clearly marked, the answer is Alaska's Aleutian Islands. According to World Atlas, the Aleutian Islands go right up to the 180-degree line of longitude, which makes Alaska the westernmost state. But since the Aleutian Islands also cross that line into the eastern hemisphere, Alaska is technically the easternmost state as well. Number 12. The state of California has more residents than the entire country of Canada. As of 2016, California contains just over 39 million people, according to the Public Policy Institute of California. Meanwhile, according to Statistics Canada, as of January 1st, 2019, Canada's entire population totaled 37,314,442 people. But Canada could soon catch up or even pass California in terms of population. As Statistics Canada reported, Canada's population is continuing to rapidly grow due to international immigration. And, per a 2018 report from the Legislative Analyst's Office, though people continue to move to this state, California has been losing residents for years as they move to different parts of the U.S. Number 13. Australia may be surrounded by water, but it doesn't have the world's longest coastline. Being its own continent and completely surrounded by water, you'd think Australia would easily have the honor of being the country with the longest coastline. However, that title goes to Canada. Canada has 152,100 miles of coastline compared to Australia's measly 16,000 miles. In fact, Australia ranks 7th on the list of the world's longest coastlines, coming in behind Indonesia, Greenland, Russia, the Philippines, and Japan. Number 14. Mt. Chimborazo is closer to space than Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, so it would stand to reason that the top of the mountain would be the highest point on Earth, and therefore closest to space. But when you remember that Earth is slightly oval-shaped, things get interesting. Our planet is slightly inflated around the equator, meaning countries like Ecuador and Kenya have a bit of an edge. With this added elevation, the top of Ecuador's Mount Chimborazo, which is only 20,564 feet tall, is closest to the stars. Number 15. The entirety of the world's population could easily fit in Texas. If the entire world were as densely populated as New York City, the whole population would only cover 250,404 square miles. That means the entire world could fit into the state of Texas. For comparison, if the world had the same population density as Houston, Texas, it would cover 1,769,085 square miles. Even then, being able to hypothetically fit over 8 billion people in an area smaller than half the United States is pretty impressive. And that's it for this video. Please click the like and subscribe buttons down below if you found it riveting. To make sure you don't miss any uploads, tap the bell icon, share the video, and comment down your thoughts. See you in the next one.